We see patterns in our daily lives, from the formation of rocks to our biorhythms. In language, structures are present in which underlying rules and patterns are observed. In figure of speech, we analyze its different kinds and provide evidence that can be proof that patterns are still present in the structure of text and language. Okay, so good morning class. I hope you all good and well today as we are about to discuss our new topic. So our lesson for today is all about figure of speech. So first, let me know first, what is your prior knowledge about this one? Anyone?
I think, ma'am, figure of speech can make your sentence more creative and attractive.
Very good, Keisha. So, another idea about figure of speech?
As I remember, Mom, there are 4 common parts of figures of speech: the simile, metaphor, hyperbole, and personification.
I am glad that you have something on your mind. But do you know that there are patterns when determining this figure of speech? First figure of speech that I'm going to discuss is simile. So class, do you know what is simile? A simile is a figure of speech, a form of language in which the speaker compares two or more things to make a description more emphatic or vivid. It is comparing two unlike things that are often introduced by like or as. Identifying a simile is easy when you recognize the patterns of how the composition is done. As the definition defines simile, it was written that simile is comparing two unlike terms which use like or as. So, when we are tasked or to identify it, we just need to remember the key points. It compares and often uses like or as. There are two different patterns in simile. First, the verb plus like plus noun. Second, the as plus adjective plus as plus noun pattern. So for example, she's as slippery as an eel. It compares two unlike terms which uses the word as. As plus the adjective slippery plus as and plus noun eel. The metaphor figure of speech uses words and phrases to compare two different things in describing a particular subject. Unlike simile, it can be recognized by the use of the two words as and like. Metaphor phrase is a direct comparison. It is an analogy between two things. It is just like viewing something and taking two different points of view. To recognize its pattern in identifying if the figure of speech is a metaphor, the pattern will be if the sentence is describing the subject or the phrase is comparing a thing to another thing without using the words as and like, then the figure of speech is recognized as a metaphor. The pattern is easy if you recognize the 2 points of view that are different from each other but are connected in one sentence. The pattern is thing is equal to thing. For example, her lovely voice is music to my ears. The phrase music to my ears is the metaphor phrase applied to compare the subject's voice. The world is my stage. The phrase stage is the metaphor phrase used to ascribe to the world. Personification uses objects and other non-human things to portray human behavior in literary work. So, to determine the pattern behind personification, we should look for the word or phrase that is an object that refers to human traits. The pattern for this is non-human things or inanimate. For example, Bella's alarm clock yells at her every morning to wake her up. The word alarm clock in the sentence was used to the human trait which is to yell, but alarm clock cannot yell, but humans can. So, we personify the alarm clock by giving it the human ability to yell. In the sentence, the alarm clock was used to give action, which is to wake up Bella. The fourth and final figure of speech that I'm going to present is hyperbole. What is hyperbole? Hyperbole is a figure of speech you use when you want to exaggerate a point. It comes from the Greek word exest and is often used to make something sound much bigger, better, funnier, or more dramatic than it actually is. Hyperbole is a used tool in language. For example, I'm so hungry, I could eat an elephant. I'm so hungry, normal phrase, plus the exaggeration, I could eat an elephant. Here, the speaker don't literally mean that the person will truly want to eat the elephant. Instead, the speaker is using hyperbole to exaggerate the level or intensity of the hunger she or he felt. And to conclude this discussion, language is essential to communication. It may be defined as an arbitrary vocal system used by humans for communication. In what we know, patterns just exist in our surroundings, specifically in non-living and living things, but patterns exist everywhere. Patterns exist in our daily routines, movements, vocalizations, and even in our sleep. Through this lesson, we realize that language as a whole have a pattern. It compares one thing to another to make a sentence more interesting and attract readers. In this sense, the comparison of one thing to another is already a pattern. With this, we learned that to be able to be effectively used and connect to the world around us, we must take notice of the patterns of the world. And I thank you.